doing?
Oh, I heard something.
There
Oh,
we
there we
go.
go.
Hi. Sorry, I'm a couple minutes late. How are y'all?
Good, good. Actually, that I need to grab a power cord I just noticed, so I will be right back.
Great. Take your time.
Are you in Oregon right now, or where are you?
Yeah, grab your power cord. We've got a
Okay,
little
yeah.
story time to start
Okay,
our
sounds good.
call
I'll be right
with.
back.
Oh, Jane, you are muted. If you're trying to say anything important.
I was intentionally muted and not saying anything important at all, other than
Oh,
yay for story time.
yeah, great. Thank you so much for your comments on Ituma's progress. It's been really helpful.
Oh, good.
Um,
Well, if it was helpful, great. If not, throw it away.
yeah, that's always it's yeah, that's always the thing. And I'm excited to get to share where I know I'm a little behind right now, but hopefully get some stuff up with him soon. We had
Well,
one of those,
I haven't even caught up on the last one, so
great. Yeah. Yeah. We had one of those training sessions last week where, like, the very first repetition, I was like, oh my God, this is, we're done. We're done. I'm quitting. I'm going to become an accountant. And then, like, every repetition after that was,
oh,
we
good,
got the whole thing. I think
good.
one of the things I'll say this, I'll write this out in his post whenever that does happen, but I'm realizing with him that, like, if we make it to like step 7 in the training session before, I'm used to with the border collies maybe dropping back to like step 5 at the first
Yeah.
repetition of the next session. I think he kind of needs to be dropped back to like step 3.
Uh,
He needs to be like dropped back down really far in the first rep of the next
uh,
session. Um, and he comes back up quickly and like we are moving
right,
forward, but it is like,
right.
oh, he needs a lot more, yeah, dropping back for that first repetition, which is really
Interesting.
interesting. And I wonder if that's a him thing. I don't know if that's a gun dog thing, a spaniel thing. He's got weird foundations, like there's so much weird stuff going on, but
Yeah.
And also like a new to you thing, right? Like
yeah.
yeah, so many
Yeah, I
options.
mean, it's been so long since I've been responsible for the training of a dog whose foundations I know so little about, and I
Yeah.
have so little say in. And I think there is something like he's on one hand he's been through a bunch of detection homes, so he knows a lot of stuff. On the
Hmm.
other hand, I think there's been a lot of inconsistency, and there's a lot of like distrust in whether or not I know the same game he knows.
I wonder.
Um,
I wonder if that's it needing to drop back is like for him, it's almost new every day. And when you jump
yeah.
in the middle, he doesn't know what's going on. But once he gets used to you going, nope, this is just like yesterday. This is just like
Yeah.
yesterday. He might,
I think being operational for a while might actually help too, because then it is just kind of the same
Yeah,
thing. Once
right,
you're
yeah,
operational, it doesn't get harder every day.
yeah.
right.
That makes sense. Like this is what we do. We go out, we do
Mm.
this
Yeah,
together. Yeah.
yeah. So our little story time update is that we missed our ferry to Alaska.
No,
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
Oh
no.
no.
gonna be okay.
When's the
We're
next one?
it's the next one that they could get our truck onto. It's in July. Um, so we're driving up to Seattle after this call, basically, and we are both, so Grace is sitting right here. Um, she and I and the dogs are booked on a flight. We like had to repack all of our gear yesterday to be like, okay, what is the bare minimum gear that we need for like day trips? Um, and
whoa.
then the truck is getting on a barge tomorrow and will arrive in Ketchikan probably this weekend or like very early next week. Um,
Your
Oh,
life is so boring.
oh my God, yeah. I called my boyfriend. We're coming back.
you're
Um,
like, just guess just what happened. Oh,
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I messed up on departure time. You actually need to check in for the ferry 3 hours before it departs. So that was partially on me, but really what happened was Seattle traffic. Like we were
Mhm.
we hit at least 2 hours worth of delays just in Seattle. So we would have been like a little
Oof.
late for check-in without that
Mhm.
traffic, but we would have been totally fine. And yeah, instead we
Uh-huh.
just completely missed the boat. So
Oh
yeah,
my
it's been a very
goodness.
stressful weekend. But luckily all of my bosses and advisors have been like so relaxed about it. I called them and it was like,
Okay.
hey, and they were all of them were like, hey, nobody's bleeding, whatever, it's fine,
That's
we'll
good.
figure it
That's
out.
good. Wow.
Yeah, so I mostly just felt like an idiot, because it feels like a pretty basic mistake to make, like, but it happens.
I honestly,
Yeah.
I don't know how people deal with traffic and stuff like that. I am so
Yeah,
spoiled with, I mean, I know how to adjust for snow and mud and all that kind of stuff, but traffic, not,
That's
yeah.
funny.
Well, and I'm used to like some amount of buffer for traffic. I don't drive through Seattle often because we have to go, we bisect the entire city to get from
uh,
where we are in Oregon to get to the ferry terminal. And there's no, Seattle's one of those cities. It's not like Chicago. If you hit Chicago at rush hour, you can kind of take like a way around the city. There's nothing
Mhm.
with like that with Seattle.
uh,
Yeah, and I just don't drive through Seattle often enough to like have thought about it hard enough.
uh,
So, and maybe the best news is, so the ferry is like $1,800.
Mhm.
So I was feeling really stupid for setting $1,800 on fire, in the current financial situation of conservation. But when we called the ferry and let them know that we were going to miss it, they actually just switched that ticket to our return ticket, which we hadn't purchased yet.
Oh,
oh,
that's sweet.
nice.
Yeah, yeah, which like, oh my God, airlines would never.
No,
No.
no,
Yeah.
they would
Yeah,
be like, sorry, you're out of
yeah, yeah.
luck.
And then honestly, Alaska Air was also great. I had to call them. So you have to book your plane tickets first, and then you book the dogs.
Mhm.
Um, and I called them after having purchased our plane tickets, and they were like, "Your dogs are not going to fit on that plane." Because every single plane in the next week basically already has two dogs on the plane.
Uh,
Oh,
And these are tiny planes because it's just
yeah.
wanted to
right,
catch a can. So the
right.
Alaska airline agent spent, I don't know, 40 minutes on the phone with me, like looking up the exact cubic measurement of the two crates that we had and the cubic
Wow.
allowance for each plane, and like plane by plane going through. I mean, we must have checked 10
Wow.
flights before we found one that
Mhm.
fit the dogs.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And yeah, we fly with Barley in cabin. Thank God,
Mhm.
because there's no way we would have gotten a plane that would have fit the three. Grace and I would have just had to fly separately, like one of us with two dogs and one of us with one. And
Right.
yeah, so we're all sorted out and we will be flying tomorrow.
Oh,
Well, good.
And the amazing
Wow.
thing
Fingers
is, fieldwork is
crossed.
actually going to start on time.
I was wondering, like, does that like your travel time?
No, because we should have arrived in Ketchikan yesterday morning.
mhm.
So we're going to get in quite a bit later than we expected, but I had planned on yesterday, today, tomorrow, and basically up until Friday was all going to be like unpacking, organizing gear, getting settled, maybe doing some like short day trip training runs with the dogs.
Mhm.
Hmm.
And then our first outing was supposed to be a 4-day camping trip, which I was feeling a little nervous about because like I don't know if two of us ever slept in a tent.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And instead, what we're doing is our first 4 days of work are all going to be day trips. And then next weekend, our Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays are going to be our weekends. We'll do all of the unpacking and whatnot. So we'll have the trip by then, but we don't
Okay.
have anything to unpack now.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Good point.
So yeah,
Well,
yeah, it's going to be okay, but it has been a little like a little nuts. So yeah,
Oh man.
yeah, yeah. So
that's a
yeah,
lot.
let's get into some dog training. I think I saw a couple videos submitted. So we've got Anne, we've got Jane, and we've got Rachel. Okay, wow, just 3 for 3 on who's here. And I think, oh, this is already recording. Great. So everybody who watches this later gets to enjoy the story.
Everyone can get the update.
You know, it's something that I'm actually embarrassed about when you don't see it on social media right away.
Oh no.
Oh,
You can trim it
Yeah,
before
well,
you
you could.
record
Could
it.
you
Before you.
stop it now and then start it
oh
again?
no, it's okay. I'm planning on
Okay,
doing this as like
you're
a
good.
story, but it was like one of
Okay,
those things where it was so stressful that I was like, I can't,
not
I can't be
not today.
sharing this live. Like I'm too
Yeah.
upset.
Yeah.
But it'll be a good story later. And now I have
Uh,
an answer when reporters ask me for my biggest fieldwork mistake. So, okay.
Seattle traffic. Seattle traffic is the biggest field miss.
Traffic.
Yeah, they're gonna be expecting a cool story about a polar bear and
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
Seattle traffic. Let me tell
yeah.
you. Okay, so Anne, it looks like, well, you were actually the last one to comment. These are in reverse
Yeah,
order. So
let's do me
Rachel,
last because I might actually I saw the other ones and mine might piggyback off some of the other conversations.
okay.
Yeah.
So Rachel, do you want to tell us anything about what's going on with Finn here, or do you want me to just read what you've written?
Particularly, we've been using the snorkels. And I put in a little comment that like when I first got them out, he was so disinterested. He was like, he was looking at these like, what the hell? I don't know what I'm supposed to do with this. Because I was using like food rewards, but as soon as I started using a ball, he was like, okay.
Oh yeah.
I'm ready. So we've been using them just like in my backyard periodically here and there. And he's been doing well.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, just
Yeah, I've been really loving the scent snorkels. Like, well, yeah, it's gonna be fun to see as we kind of talk through yours if we
mhm.
run into anything because I think Tuma and I are like a week or two ahead of you.
Okay,
And
awesome.
I'm running into a couple things that I'm not loving about that. Like, it's not perfect. It's not
Okay.
we have not unfortunately discovered the one perfect way to train dogs. Um,
I think that's a never-ending
What
battle.
we're all here for.
I know that's what we're all paying for here. Rachel,
Mhm.
would you be able to share your screen with the video just because I am on a coffee shop Wi-Fi and I'm not 100% sure if it's going to want to stream for us? I can tell I've got a bit of a lag for y'all.
I can try. I'm on my iPad today.
Ooh.
So
Why don't I'll give it a go. If it's awful,
Okay.
we'll figure out a plan B then.
okay, sounds good.
Yeah, I might be able to share if it doesn't work for others.
Okay. Okay.
We are.
there
I am
is-
seeing it.
Yeah. Well, I'll start
Good.
playing it. We'll see how bad it is.
Come here, come here. Sit. Closer.
I know we comment on his tail every time. Like, oh my god, it's beautiful. You all deserve little certificates in video editing.
It's definitely buffering for me. I don't know if it's doing
Okay.
that for others.
Just
It is
now
for
when you
me,
said
but that's
it.
my own.
Okay. Well,
I think Kayla froze too a little bit there, so yeah.
am I back?
That's true.
You're back now.
Okay, great. We'll give it a second. I'll drag this back by a little bit. And give it a go.
Yes. Good. Good job. Very nice. Uh-oh. Come here. Sit. Wait.
So I don't have a helper to like move the snorkels around, so I send the ball in the other direction. He stares at it while I move things.
Love border collies.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
I really love that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nice boy.
This is beautiful. It's looking really clean, Rachel.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Good job.
I'm telling you that the ball, like the change in reward made all the difference.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll stop eating up all the internet in the cafe for a second. No, that looks really, really nice. I've got a couple tiny things I'm thinking about for you, and then we can
Yeah.
talk about where to go from here.
Hmm.
Does anyone else have anything that they saw before I spoil anything? So,
I was a
oh,
little
go ahead.
distracted by the tail and the enthusiasm. So I don't.
So
Yeah.
the two tiny things I was seeing, Rachel, that you might want to consider swapping. One, I did this with Ituma, and it made quite a bit of a difference to help him out. And actually, sometimes I
Hmm.
still have to do it with Barley. Is
Uh-huh.
I had a couple repetitions where I stood on the other side of the snorkel so that it was
Mm.
easier for them to hold the alert facing into it.
Okay.
And then I kind of started moving myself like around the clock to
Hmm.
get back to them. If it matters to you that they can actually hold, face towards the target, making it so that that is towards you at first, and then kind of moving
Hmm.
yourself around can help get there.
Okay.
It's one of those things that like depending on what your target is, it doesn't matter all that much.
Right.
But
Right.
it is
That's
kind of
good.
nice to build that because it will deteriorate in the field.
Hmm.
So having something that is really nice and clean in training can be helpful.
Hmm.
So that was one really, really minor thing. Um, Two, you might want to consider as you're doing your ball tosses, tossing a little bit lower so that
Oh,
he's not popping up and down onto his wrists quite so much.
that's true.
It's not egregious. He's not doing backflips, but we just had the rehab vet tell me that Marley's wrists are sore. So I'm just thinking about
Hmm.
wrists right now.
Hmm. Okay.
So those were the two like minor things at this stage that I would think. Does that bring anything up for Anne or Jane now? Or you as follow-up questions, of course.
I was just really impressed with the throwing the ball and having him look the other way while you move stuff. I thought that was brilliant.
Really, really neat, clean training. Yeah.
Yes,
Hi, Sonia. Good to have you here.
Yeah, especially since you said he was just kind of getting used to it on
hmm.
this. And then what Kayla said for building duration, that makes a
Yeah.
lot of sense to me. That like he's going to look at you anyway, so you're just kind of helping him, and then you
Yeah.
could kind of start working like around the clock, like she said. That
Definitely.
sounds good, but he's definitely targeting it now, which if that was the struggle before,
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So,
and like,
go.
I was going to ask, like, I guess next steps, and that would be standing on the other side of the snorkel and then kind of
Yeah.
moving over. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and I would do that before increasing the size of the
Okay.
search area
Yeah.
because otherwise it's really hard to get perpendicular to it without telling which one it is.
Hmm.
So I would start with that. Then the other stuff, then as you're getting to the around the clock phase,
Hmm.
what you can do is start just breaking the line a
Okay.
little
Yeah.
bit. So you could start having them in a triangle.
Hmm.
Actually, for the around the clock, it might be interesting to have it with a triangle with you in the middle because
Ah,
then no
oh
matter
yeah,
where
I like
he
that.
is, he's still pointing
Hmm.
in towards you.
okay.
Um, and then you could start kind of expanding from there. But I would start kind of getting to the point where you can be like at least 90 degrees to it.
Yep.
And he's still, and it doesn't necessarily, again, I am relatively flexible on like, does he need to like, he doesn't need to hold an explosive alert,
No, and I think at
But
least for the
but
stuff that we're,
getting a nice good one at least most of the time. Go ahead, what were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say that I agree with you. I would like to get it like cleaner, but at least for just for I'm a recovering perfectionist, but um so that's something that I would definitely like to work on because I think at least right now we're working towards doing working with the New York, New Jersey Trail Conference to potentially search for a plant. It's called Seabolds viburnum, which is invasive on the East Coast. Um, so still that is like the program just started. Like we just had a meeting last week and they explained what invasive species were and like how to even like go ahead and like start training your dog. There were people of all like experience levels.
Levels.
Yes. So they have like a in-person meeting in like New Jersey, but it's like 5 hours away. So they're
Yeah,
still like just getting started, but I'm like trying to keep some of that stuff in mind.
yeah,
Yeah.
awesome.
Hmm.
I don't know if
Yeah,
this is too much of a sidebar on how put together the snorkels are, because I haven't made my snorkels yet, but I was thinking of it. But
Hmm.
the snorkels have like that side direction, right? I'm
Yeah.
wondering if it's possible to make it with a piece that's just straight, and then you wouldn't have to be as concerned about like the orientation.
when I was
But
at
this is
Working
just
Dogs
me
for
like,
Conservation, we did some stuff with buckets,
Oh.
where just like a little Home Depot bucket.
Yeah.
That's easier if you've got a sit alert.
Yeah, that makes
yeah,
sense.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, I think like it's kind of ergonomically hard for them if if they're down.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I've had Barley hit our scent circles fast enough that he actually rotates it with his face.
Nice.
Um, he's also knocked them off, but yeah. So okay, so we're thinking kind of work on getting some around the clock stuff, work on
Yep.
changing the configuration a little bit.
Hmm.
I think as you're starting to expand from there as well, I
Hmm.
would also, so this is a mistake that I'm thinking I'm seeing with Tuma.
Hmm.
Probably around there, I would start occasionally having a scat or a target out of the snorkel.
Ah.
Because what I started, and you'll see this in Tuma's next update,
Yep.
you'll see he's actually just sprinting top speed from snorkel to snorkel without any active sniffing in between. So we're getting really nice looking bracketing, but he's not actually searching in between.
Right.
And then it was actually really tough for him
Hmm.
to put the alert and the target together without the snorkel. On
Right.
our next, that's the session that we had that like looked awful. Um,
Hmm.
was me trying to put the scat out of the snorkel. So I would maybe consider bringing that in earlier and
Okay.
make sure that you're getting some sort of alert and good response to it. So
Yeah.
that's probably plenty of steps for,
Yeah.
for now.
Yep.
I mean,
Yeah, definitely. I have some homework.
yeah,
Awesome. Thank you guys.
yeah, yeah, of course. Okay, Sonia is saying hello from her phone. And yay, hi,
Mhm.
good to have you here. Um, yeah, any other questions or comments for Rachel before we jump on to Jane? Cool. Well, yeah, and I'm excited to hear how it's going with New York, New Jersey. That's really, really cool. And
Yeah, I want to
yeah,
hear updates on that. That sounds fun.
I'll
yeah,
keep you
they're
guys updated when I learn more. Apparently, they've chosen a nice and smelly plant. I guess when you like rub the leaves, it smells like how they said it smells like tar or like burned rubber. So they tried to choose something that because plants are harder, just something that would be smelly enough for the dogs to actually like register and learn. So,
cool.
see how it goes.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense.
Mhm.
Okay, so Jane, now we've got you working on with some smaller pieces of Pong. You'll probably kind of narrate for us, so we can go ahead and do that. Jane, do you want to share your screen and have it go? Just since mine was a little squirrely last time.
Okay, so I need to go to Patreon, yes?
Yeah, or just pull up the YouTube link, which here I'll drop into the chat for you.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't have that
Yeah, no, all
ready.
good.
Okay.
You didn't
All
know you were
right.
supposed to.
Um, yeah, so I almost didn't share this because um it's a basket case. Um, but can you hear me? Everybody hear me okay? Yeah, I'm getting
Yep,
warnings from
I can hear you.
okay. All right. This is long and there's not a lot going on, and you can barely see the dog because it's such a big distance and it's such a tiny little dog. But I was trying to get a big space in to see about trying to work her on a larger area. My
Mhm.
problem is that if she doesn't smell something pretty quickly, she quits. So the thought of continuing to search a big area we're stuck on. And I think what I need to do, I thought about this a lot over the weekend. I was actually hoping I could get another video, but we had snow and rain and wind and power outages all weekend, so that didn't happen. Um, I think I'm just going to go back to smaller areas and very gradually increase it. And then I've got the line issue and that, so I'm a little bit lost. And one of the reasons this is long is because I show also reinforcement because I'm trying to make it fun enough for her that she wants to continue searching. And I don't know if that's the right strategy or not. So anyway, and I'll kind of narrate just so you can, yeah, what's going on. So you can sort of see from the right to the left, there's kind of three posts lined up.
Mhm.
So that's what my intention was, to walk those three posts in a straight line and see if she would sort of stay with me and keep searching. And what I did was at each post, I threw a piece right, and the next one I threw a piece left, and the last one I threw a piece right. Actually, maybe it was the other way around. But anyway, that's how I could remember where they were. And so she pretty much goes right by the first one. She goes, I don't know how close she got to it, but you can see she goes left down there and doesn't find it. And then the next one, um, she she gives me her I'm stuck cue, which is she lies down at my feet and looks at me. And that's what she does when there's a blank search or whether she's just not sure what to do. So at that point, I just turned right, took her up the hill to search, and she found it then. But she needed me to get her going in the right direction. So then I threw the frisbee for her and she took off after it and then went, nah, I don't think so.
Mhm.
So reinforcers for her, some days it's I want food, some days I want a squeaky toy, some days I want a frisbee. And I've got to have all three on me so that when she goes, no, I don't want that today, I've got something else to give her. So I
Mhm.
pull out the squeaky. We play with that for a little bit. I drag her to tug. I drag her to pick up the frisbee. And then she finds the next one, which I didn't think it was that close. So I didn't believe her. So she stood there and held her
Oh
alert for a
no.
long time, which I was really happy for until I
Uh-huh.
finally went, oh, you did find it. And then the next one took us forever. So I just cut it off and ended it there.
Okay,
So
great. But I know
basically
Sonia,
that's
I
what.
don't know if she's in a position to talk, but she'll probably have some thoughts on some of those like inconsistent reinforcement taking problems.
Okay.
I know she and
So
Drifter
I'm
did a
pretty
lot of
sure
work on
it's
that.
down there where she was, but she
Okay.
does go looking. And to me, this is, I was kind of fairly optimistic. And I kind of just kept walking because I thought, well, she needs to wander around and pick up the odor somewhere. And you'll see this is where she kind of goes. I think she takes off one more time. And I'm kind of just sort of trying to walk with her a little bit. And that's something
Mhm.
else I'm not sure of. Am I walking consistently across potential transects? Or, so this is her lie down. I don't
Yeah.
get it. So I take her up the hill. And I can see well, actually, no, I think she got a little far. So I think I called her back here. And so she came down. And so I was standing pretty close to it by the time she found it. Throw the frisbee. She takes off after it. And then she comes back without the frisbee. So I pull out the squeaky toy and we play tug with the squeaky toy a little bit. I can actually probably go with that. Maybe I can't. And so just take her to the frisbee with the squeak with her, you know. So I'm trying to get her excited enough. And to me, she seems pretty motivated there. Get the squeaky toy back, pick up the frisbee, and cue her to search again.
Oh, that's a really nice long alert. Yeah.
No, she's not even on it yet. At this
Oh,
point,
okay.
she's air
It's just
scenting. And that's
gotcha.
the other thing she does is she stands there for a long time. And at first I thought she was just confused, but I realized she is air scenting that whole time. And that's when she's trying to pick something up.
Hmm.
And when she can't find anything, that's when she lies down. So here is when she, oh, it is there.
Oh,
So
good
I throw the frisbee
girl.
again.
Oh, she's so
And
fast. I
that
love this
time she
camera
does
angle.
grab
This
it
is
and she comes
fantastic.
back. And so, we tug a little bit and I won't make you watch all that. But
Yeah.
so
It's not the worst we've seen.
we lost Kayla.
Oh, uh-oh. Here, can you hear me now?
I was gonna say I don't see her picture anymore.
Oh,
Hang on, reconnecting.
okay.
Okay. Am I back?
Your voice is.
Great.
There
There
you
you
are.
are. Your face is too.
I killed the camera to see if that fixed it, but at this point I think that's superstitious.
Mm.
Um, yeah, so honestly, I mean, I think you did a really good job of troubleshooting in the moment. So yeah.
I
Um, and yeah, I don't think it's actually quite as bad as you think. I think there's like a couple small things that
Really?
could have made things go a lot more smoothly. But it doesn't
Okay.
look, she didn't quit on you. She didn't freak out. She didn't have a meltdown. You didn't freak out or have a meltdown, maybe at least not externally. Um, yeah. Um, yeah. So I think what's going to help you in increasing your search area, I think you're on the right path of thinking about, okay, let's do it really slowly. I also think, and I think we did this with Zuzu. We talked about finding spaces that have like they're larger, but they have kind of a visual barrier that tells you what your search area is. If you've got
Yeah,
like tree lined
yeah.
or bush lined options, I know the bushes might be tricky for her, which they also were for Zoo. Um, but thinking through, or even like in between two buildings or something like that, where it's bounded in some way, I think that can help everybody have an idea of where they need to be going. I loved what you were thinking with the fence
Okay.
posts. I think
And
that's
I've,
a great idea, but it's so open and so like monotonous that I think it's a little tricky to figure out exactly where you need to be going. Go ahead. And more for
okay.
her than for you. You knew where you were
Okay.
going, but the other thing I was thinking is
Sort of.
in that first spot where before the first find, where you kind of started doubling back and then she paused and then you paused and then she laid down and then you moved on. You might want to try next time you get kind of that like little pause and check in from her, just suggesting an area before she goes ahead and lies down. You can kind of use that as a like, okay, yeah, you don't quite
Okay.
know where we're going. I'll take a step in a direction and see if you can kind of build that initiative back up for her in that
Okay.
moment. If you don't have great spaces to kind of have that bounded space that we were talking about, the other thing you can do is, what Rachel and I are doing with scent snorkels right now works really well as a way to do that. I also, with Niffler, I didn't have scent snorkels. I would just put out like a backpack, a dog bowl, a chair, a hay bale, and like mate something that kind of gave him an idea of where we're searching and gave him objects to check off of.
Yeah.
Um,
She gets a little, if there are objects, she gets a little bit about checking them.
yeah, yeah, and that's fine. Because there's eddies and scent collectors on those. There's that like there is odor on them, and then you can also try to like strategically make sure that maybe more than 50% of the time the target itself isn't near an object, but
Okay.
bounded by them.
Okay.
Jane, where are you at? It's so beautiful there.
Northern Vermont.
Wow.
And we had 2 inches of wet snow yesterday.
Yeah.
So that was after this was taken. So not always beautiful. Um,
Jane, something that worked for me along those lines, and it was just I happened to be in an Airbnb that had this. They had an open rail fence without the wire mesh.
uh-huh,
And so like Zuzu could go through it technically, but I put it was just like a smaller like little sub area. And so I put my hides in there and I set her up at like kind of the entrance. And she did sort of read that like open rail fence as like, oh, this is my barrier, even though she could physically go through it.
okay.
That I just happened to be in an Airbnb that had that. But it really um it really helped me at a critical point and like trying to split that up
Okay.
of being off leash so I wasn't relying on the line to have her search like close to me. It just gave her this visual. So I don't know, even like logs or something that you if you know like
Okay.
that
Yeah,
really helped.
I need to be so I did this morning actually. We have like a garden and the driveway. And I thought, I think I'm gonna work there for a little bit because I can actually do follow it down for a ways. So this morning I kept them all fairly close to the house. And my thought was each time I'll go a little further out, but we've got the driveway on one side and the garden on the other side. And
Mhm.
maybe that will keep her in those confines, but also give us room to grow in
Yeah.
that space. Okay.
And,
Yeah, I
uh,
like that.
Okay. So who had the ideas for random reinforcement demands?
Yeah. So Neil, how did you and Drifter get through that?
Um, well, Jane, I had a problem with my dog is that he would play like a maniac at home, but then when I would be um out searching and try to give a toy reward, he was like, what are you doing? Like, put that down. I'm not interested. And um
Yeah.
I started um trying to because I think he would just get so distracted with and not interested in playing if he was outside of his like immediate comfort zone. um I started on Anne McGloon's suggestion taking him to a very boring area, say a parking lot, and getting a toy and just trying to get him to engage just for a minute, and also doing like pay to play, which because he loves food. So if I would shake the tug and he would grab it in his mouth for 1 second, I would reward him with food. And I was
Okay.
actually showing someone this yesterday because then I said, watch, because we were in the forest and I pulled out a toy and I started whipping it around and Drifter just looked at me like I was crazy. And then I showed him a treat and I shook it and he was like, oh, if I bite it, I get a treat. And then I
Okay.
shook it some more and he had to, and anyway, we built up with like, within 2 minutes to, him grabbing it for 20 seconds and tugging it. And I just showed her how quickly I could get him to engage by rewarding him with food. And then he, actually starts to get into it. Once he starts tugging and pulling, then he
Yeah.
becomes engaged in the game.
Yeah.
And I need to do that more. And at this point, I realize like if I'm to start with food, because if I pull out a toy, he's my food. And then as the day gone, he's more ready to, and I more ready to accept a toy. And maybe that's because he's more has settled into the new environment. I'm not sure, but yeah, I pretty much have to
Okay.
start with food. And then as we build with exercises, throughout the day, then he becomes like ready to play tug.
Okay.
And I'm sure
That's
I'm sure there's a better way to do it, but
no, I think it's brilliant. I mean, because what it teaches me is I need to take her new places and just play. Because we had a real bust at the training weekend. Um, she gets really stressed by travel, I realized, and it was a real thing. She gets car sick, but she was on her meds. She didn't get sick. but she comes out of the car after 2.5 hours the way I get off an airplane, which is not good. It takes me 24 hours to get back to myself. And I didn't have a dog on Saturday. And at first I thought she was distracted, but she wasn't distracted because she wasn't, they were all and she was just sort of randomly sniffing. And it wasn't until I really thought about it that night, had some other experiences the next day, took her somewhere after we got home, and I thought, no, it's just a long amount of travel just really stresses her out. So anyway, point being, I'm going to start taking her places like half an hour away, 35 minutes away, 40 minutes away. And I'll just play with her before we walk because I've been just taking her for hikes, which she loves. But I think I'll get her out of the car and play with her. And then we'll take off for a walk and play with that piece too. Because, yeah, when she's somewhere else, she's like, no, my brain is not on playing with you. My brain is on other stuff. So I think that's great. Thank you very much.
Yeah. And you might even want to make yourself a little notebook or a note on your phone and take some notes on like, here's where we were, here's what was going on around us. Maybe here's how long the car ride was, since car rides are a factor for her. Here's what she took
Yeah.
enthusiastically. Here's what we were able to get her to take. And
Yeah.
see
Yeah.
that might give you like maybe there's a pattern that we're not able to see without writing it down. Um,
Yeah. And
and
I'm also pulling
hopefully also
apart,
see
unfortunately.
improvements. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. I'm also pulling out the crate, unfortunately, aspect of it, because I've taken her twice since that weekend. And if she can sit on the console and look around, she's much happier. And she doesn't complain about the crate. She gets right in it. But I wonder if that's not part of the anxiety. Because when she was a pup, she loved to go in the car with me. Um, so yeah. Anyway, lots to figure out. But thank you, Sonia and
So
Kayla and Ann and
is it
everybody.
possible that the medication might, might be affecting how she feels also?
It's not supposed to, what she's on, and I gave it to her at home once and just stayed home all day, and we had a normal day, and I didn't see a difference. But I am oddly the prescribed medication is not supposed to affect her, and that's what she was on when we went to the weekend. The Dramamine does technically knock them out, but that's what I did the last two times, and she was fine. So I'm not sure whether it's the meds or the, half hour versus 2.5 hours.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not
And
sure.
yeah, big training weekends are hard for a lot of dogs.
And a lot of
Yeah.
handlers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that was true. And I had personal crap going on the week before that I was not in the best frame of mind for. And
Yeah.
I'm sure she picked up on that. So
No, and
darn dogs are too intuitive.
it's so hard to get out and train in front of your peers. We do it so infrequently. And the conservation dog world is
Yeah.
so small.
Well,
It is so scary to have to train in front of each other. And like it's such a gift and it's so helpful, but it is
we didn't even
really
get to,
intimidating.
yeah, we didn't even get to that point. I knew as soon as she got out of the car, I didn't have a dog. And
Yeah.
she didn't. And it wasn't until so when she sees other dogs, she loves other dogs. And when she sees other dogs, she makes this, I call it her possessed sound. It's somewhere between a whine and a gargle. And it freaks some other dogs out. So I had warned everybody ahead of time. And it wasn't until after the weekend I said, she never did that. She just didn't feel good. And she sort of,
Yeah.
thankfully, Chris brought her puppy and she played with her puppy a little bit. And
Oh,
that brought
good.
her out. And by the second day, she was great on the environmentalist course. She did a little search wonderfully in a palette, and everybody's like, it's, you can't see it, it's out of reach. And I'm like, she would do this no problem at home, so I got to try it. And she did. So I felt like we recouped a little bit. But anyway,
Yeah. Huh.
so,
But
but I'm
yeah.
glad you think that search wasn't that bad because I was
No,
thinking it was awful.
no, it really we've definitely seen worse. And I have had worse in the last week. Um and honestly, this is one of the things that's always hard with like uh when you just do the one search because like if I had done one setup with Ituma, last week and filmed that, I would have been devastated. But like we had the capacity to run similar setups. I think we did like 5 runs, and we're working on slightly smaller areas so we can do multiple repetitions. But I was able to see within the course of like an hour-long training session where we're training one dog, letting that dog rest, training the next 2 dogs, going back to Ituma. I was
Okay.
able to see that we made progress, and I was able to see that we actually were fixing it.
Okay.
Because
So
when
that
you're,
is
yeah, and
that's
it's hard when you're doing bigger areas because you're not going to make them do that multiple times. But
yeah.
yeah, like I had, and you'll see it on the video whenever I do get around to editing and posting it. Like, I'm like, let's stop and put the dog in the car and like
Yeah.
actually stop, put the dog in the car, stand there with my hands on my hips, staring at the search area for a while. And then like trying again and actually getting that progress. And you didn't get that because part of the
Yeah.
problem was that she was so overwhelmed you wouldn't have wanted to bring her back out. And
Okay.
yeah, that makes it easier to be hard on yourself because you didn't get to
Okay.
see the fixing. Versus in
Yeah.
imprinting or small area searches, it's easier to kind of like put the dog away, think about it, and see progress again within the same day.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's really good to know too, because I have no idea whether I should be doing multiple training sessions a day or once a day is enough and let it gel and bring her out again. So,
Yeah, I'm averaging, even when I'm in like heavy fieldwork prep, I'm averaging 2 really good training sessions a week, where ideally the dogs are getting a couple runs per session, or one
okay.
big air run. And then when I'm being my best self, they're getting something small every day as we're preparing for a project. When we're not like actively in like, oh my God, we're about to go to Alaska time, it's like, yeah, maybe twice a week. And we probably go months, like at least a month every so often where they don't get any support at all.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Um, so yeah. And honestly, I found like one of the best things I ever did for Nippler and his training was just adding agility to his plate and
Yeah.
having something that was like fun and toys and zoom in and like us. And I wasn't all tied up in a knot over it. And I know for some agility people, scent work is that.
Yeah. Right.
But yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about trying to increase training time. It's more an observation that like when you have the opportunity to do multiple reps back to back, it's easier to see that
Okay.
usually the disasters are they're just outliers that are, you can move in the right direction again.
Okay. All
And
right.
I was gonna say,
Thank you.
I've learned anything from training dogs or training horses is that breaks are like the best. Like if the more breaks you can give an animal and a human, the more they can actually like think and process what just happened. Um, so that's
But
why.
when you're talking about breaks, are you talking about days, weeks, months? Or are you talking because these as a horse, with the horses, my
Mhm.
my historical is you train 6 days a week, they get 1 day a week off. Those 6 days you're doing dressage 1 day, you're jumping 1 day, and that's the way my brain works. But I
Mm,
don't know what that pattern is for this.
to
We're
me,
getting the fitness and the
mhm,
and the skills and the training all. I mean, we're out for an hour and a half walk every day.
mhm.
And I'm just not sure how all those things should fit into an average week. And if maybe I am training too much. I thought I wasn't training enough, but
I don't know if I can speak necessarily to, I guess in my head, I was thinking more micro breaks. So like doing
okay.
for a horse, you do something, you
Yeah.
see it, they try, and then you're like, okay, take a second, take a couple minutes, think about it,
Yeah.
and then maybe try again. And if you don't see as much progress, maybe that's when you come back another day. That's what I would do personally. I don't know if other people have other thoughts about that.
Yeah, no, I think you're right, Rachel. That's one of the things I've been liking about the way that I've been training the dogs with the scent snorkels over the last
Mhm.
week is that like we're setting them all out in a field. All 3 dogs are in the car waiting to go,
Yeah.
and we get to rotate. We run all 3 dogs on the same puzzle.
Mhm.
Um, And then, I can play with like, okay, Barley's gonna have to hold his alert for a really long time, or like, whatever, just to like make it a little more hard. But honestly, I'm treating it as like exercise for two of the dogs, and then Tuma, it's like, okay, we're actually training. But he's getting breaks, kind of. Like, it's not super restful to watch other dogs work and sit in the car, but he's not actively working.
Right.
Yeah.
We're doing that.
I guess I don't want it to be punishing for her to take her away from it if she hasn't successfully done the find.
Totally.
Mm.
You know,
I think generally it's less punishing for them than we think it is to
Okay.
stop them and reset, take some time, and then make it something that's clear and actually gets them where they need to go. I think generally speaking, that's actually harder on us than it's on.
can I share my recent experience with this?
Yes.
I was having a specific issue, and that was that some of the things that I was putting out were Drifter wanted to engage with. He wanted to lick. He wanted to um, he wanted to engage with which he shouldn't. I reached out to Paul Bunker for help, and he gave me a very specific protocol about it's not a search. We're just working on his indication, going up to it and starting on a leash. Um, but the biggest, and I have to say, within a few weeks, like huge improvement. Like I can't even believe it. But he was like, I want you to do like a session. Um, and as soon as he gets it right, huge party, Yelp, treats, whatever, take him right inside, put him in a crate, give him a licky treat or a licky mat or a frozen treat or a frozen Kong or something, and just let him have quiet time to process it. And then maybe later in the day, you want to try it again. And again, these are very short. Like if he blows it, he gets like 3 chances to get it right. And if he doesn't get it right, then okay, that's the end of it. But as soon as he gets it right, first time, that's amazing, huge party in your crate with something really enjoyable, a raw meaty bone, something that takes time. And I thought the same thing, like, oh my gosh, he's going to think like, I just said, oh, this is so great. You're a huge party. Here's all this stuff. Now go get in your crate. He's going to be really upset. But it's at the point now where he, like around the house, if he gets it right and he nails it, he like runs in the house and runs into his crate and spins around and waits for me to like bring him his reward. And Anne and I were both at the symposium that was in Atlanta, and there was a whole talk about a whole presentation on that how they've proven that dogs learn better in very short sessions.
Yeah.
So it could be like, 1 minute to 5 minutes, or maybe even 10 minutes, but then multiple ones, really short, as opposed to an hour-long session.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Yeah. No, that's also makes perfect sense.
yeah, but I found that had was nothing that I would have ever done before, because I would have been like, okay, you got it right. Now let's do it again and make sure we get it solidified in your brain. Okay, that was good. Okay, now let's do it again. And realizing that that's not the proper way. The proper way is like, you got it right. Amazing. Like, go relax.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or even if they don't get it right, take a break.
Yeah.
We'll come back and try again.
Yeah, because you're also practicing that myelination thing of, they go and they chill and their brains are still doing that same thing. So
Well, what I've
I
seen as
think,
well is like sometimes in work, like once you get operational, sometimes you're going to have to put them away without making a find. And you're going to have to figure out that like
okay.
middle zone of like, I'm not necessarily going to give you your jackpot, but I don't want this to be punishing, but we do need to take a break. We do need to put you in the truck. We do need to go home. Like you can't, once you're
Yeah.
operational, you can't end everything on a find. You can't end everything perfectly. And introducing that through training, it
Okay.
kills two birds with one stone, honestly. And
Yeah.
like, yeah, again, you'll see me with Tuma in that video, like be like, okay, good boy, let's go. Like I don't give him his ball, but like it's nice, it's chill. We put him in the car. we think about it, we come back out, we give them something that, yeah, still feels good. But yeah, Sonia, and I love that you've created like a whole ritual and routine about it. And like
Yeah.
that clarity is, I think Drifter is a dog who like really, really loves that sort of thing, that like clarity and routine and whatnot. But I think a lot of dogs benefit from it, even if they don't need it quite as badly as others.
Yeah, and yesterday on a training, like I said, he did beautiful. I was so excited. And I was like, yay, yay, yay. As I was running back to the truck and I like opened the back door and he like leapt in and spun around. And I'm sure he was like, okay, give me my reward. Like, give me my
Yeah.
chewy or my, yeah, bully stick or whatever I had, for that moment. So it's been translating now from the house to being on location.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's nice to have yeah, it's so nice to me. You want to figure out how to end a search in a way that feels rewarding ultimately, no matter what. Because like I've also worked with dogs where you get to the end of the search and they don't want to load up.
Right.
Yeah.
And like this is especially on wind farms, it's really annoying, which is often where we end up getting a start in our career because you might have 8, 15, or 20-minute searches in a day, and some of those are going to be blank, and you need to get them in the car so you can drive to the next turbine. And if they're kind of like, oh, we were only out there for 13 minutes and I didn't find anything, I don't want to get in the car. Like, okay, then it's like a whole thing. And then you're adding conflict into the end of your search and like just building it in the beginning before they're even quite as obsessed with the game is helpful. So
Really, really
great
helpful.
questions.
Thank
Though.
you.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I love these little like when you think something's gone wrong, it's actually just like 5 little things to adjust and play with. Like
Okay.
there was no one disaster there. I don't think you screwed anything up. I think you had a good plan and it didn't quite pan out, but like that doesn't mean it was a bad plan.
Okay.
All right,
Thank you
Anne,
very much.
are you ready to go?
Yeah, do we have time? Are you good?
Yeah. We're gonna take the dogs for a hike before we get in the car. We don't have a ferry to miss today, so
Okay. Let's see
our,
if
our
it'll.
flight is tomorrow. So we're just getting up to Seattle at some point today.
Oh.
That's exciting.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sonia, you missed our we missed
Yeah,
our
you'll have to
ferry
listen.
last week.
Oh, I know. I'm sorry. I totally spaced out and then I saw it and I was like, I
Yeah,
gotta.
we're thrilled to have you. But yeah, you missed a story time at the beginning. All right, let's watch Zuzu, and you're back to your base now.
Yeah. So yeah, so this is like the area we did last time, and it's
Yeah,
like can you see my cursor? It's got like the woody stuff and it's kind of narrow. Um, and so we had suggested a few things. One was like doing an open search. One was adding more hides to the same area, and then one was instead of like walking like straight down along like parallel, walking kind of perpendicular to that area. So, um, so I tried an open search and she did super well. She's already found one hide here, but what I was just going to show here, I wasn't going to show the whole thing, is just pattern around me in an open area, which I think you can sort of see here.
yeah.
Like she'll be out there and then she'll kind of come back to me as a center and then she'll kind of go the other area. And like that's kind of the search pattern I'm used to. Like, and then she's hitting odor there and if she hits it, she's doing pretty good in these open spaces of, like
God, it's
sourcing it out.
crazy how fast she can move and still scent. It's absolutely bonkers.
Yeah, yeah. And her down indication, I'm so happy with that. That was like waiting for your nose. And so in these open areas, she's doing what she does, like that's what she does when she's looking for birds to that like nice figure 8 around me. So I tried that. The open area search was really great. I didn't do anything different except changing the location. So then I went back to the same location, which I'm now calling my nemesis location. Um, and so my plan was to walk. So it's like this this narrow little bowl. It's got like shrubby stuff on the sides, and it's like higher on the sides and like lower in the middle where it's like the grass is shorter. And my plan was to walk like perpendicular, like not down the line of it, but walk perpendicular, so like the short way. But what I'm thinking, so I watched the video and I realized I totally didn't do that. And I think part of it is because I was wearing a video that was my chest video, like on my chest instead of my head. And so and also I released her straight down the middle. And then I followed her with my chest, which was like also going straight down the middle. So I totally failed. In my head, I thought I was walking like 90 degrees different than I actually was. But I'll play it. You'll see, like in the beginning, I offer her a treat. Normally that is like our attention thing. If she doesn't take it, it could be one of two things. Usually like one option is she's just not engaged with me. The other option is she's so engaged in scent, she's not going to take the treat. I thought she was so engaged in scent that she didn't take the treat. And this is what we got. So not taking it. Oh, but look, you look like you're scenting. Oh, that's so fun. Oh, it's so fun. Let me roll in that deer poop. That's amazing. Okay. So I was wrong on that. And then, yeah, this is where I just like follow her down the exact opposite direction that I was intending to go. And like you can see, like she's not doing that figure 8 around me at all.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't have the video or the sound. There we go. I just have a ton of like whistling her back, which I didn't do at all in that other one either. And so I was lumping here. I was starting to elevate some hides instead of just having them low, which she just kind of didn't figure that out and moved on there. So I also increased the number of hides here. There's like 6 hides in this area instead of 3. Zuzu. Zuzu. One. Ready? Search. Yeah. As this goes on, let's see where we're at. Yeah. When she does happen to like run into where odor is, she does source it and alert.
Okay. That's something.
Yeah, so she just kind of caught it, I think. Yeah. Oh no, she didn't catch it. That was another rolly roll. My goodness. My goodness. Zuzu. This video cuts off before the end, but at the end I showed like how incredibly covered in poo she was by the end of this.
Oh no.
Just like, yeah.
Oh, Zuzu.
Ready? Search. She had
I can hear in your voice that you're trying to like, I am projecting calm. This is calm. This is calm, Anne.
Yeah, so she's on odor here. Like I just like she's like, oh wait, I just like happen to run into this. It smells like what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm just lumping. And it's a little elevated, so I was lumping. And she got it. Yes.
Nice, beautiful, good girl.
Good job. That's a puppy dog. Good girl.
Sure is a puppy dog.
Good girl. Very nice. Very nice. Good girl. All right. Good dog. Good job, Beans. Good job. Send her off. Good. And then it's a little bit, yeah, like we're the same. And again, like the search pattern is super different.
Yeah.
Focus is super different.
Zuzu. Zuzu.
Like,
Yeah, she
Color.
looks like a totally different dog.
Good girl.
yeah, and these are
Good.
like, this is a
Ready?
later date than
The other one.
like yeah, the other one was like a
This
couple
way.
weeks before this. But
Search.
then like, yeah, when she runs into it, which I think she'll do here in a second, like um yeah, her pattern was super different. But when she when in this like really erratic pattern, she happens to hit it like right there.
What? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Beautiful recognition. She knows who oh my gosh. And like that looks so different from where you all were at 6 months ago. Like at least we're working on a new problem. Like
Yeah.
miles beyond
Yeah.
where you guys were at when you
Holy
were in
cow.
the backyard.
Sorry. When she catches odor, it's so crazy.
I love
Yeah,
watching you guys work.
I feel like that's my question is like, how do I get the like the one spot which like that open area, right? That is a lot more like what our bird training grounds are, and that figure eight pattern, like I think maybe I've taken it for granted because that is what she just does on birds. It's just natural. Like I didn't train that. And when
Yeah.
I'm in that open area, she looked for like this was just essential oils. She looked for essential oils that way. And I didn't have to do much. But when you start adding some like vegetative diversity, it's not just an open field. I think I pretty consistently get this like erratic running. And if that happens to odor crosses her path, at least she will like indicate it and work it out.
Yeah.
But
That's huge.
Yeah, I was wondering about like maybe figuring out a way to teach her a search pattern. And I was wondering about the snorkels, which I thought is what maybe tied in with the other videos, but also open any ideas
Yeah.
of in this environment
I like
how to
this. Go ahead.
increase my chances.
Yeah, I think the snorkels might help. I think that's definitely an option to try. One of the other things I was thinking about is like, can you do something where you've got her somehow stationary, whether that's tethered on a platform or you've got somebody helping you, and you actually like, could you do some? Does she retrieve? How is she on toy searches?
So that's interesting. Outside she's not that she's not
Okay.
interested in toy searches. I've been trying to build that, so
Okay.
I've been doing like a fun like retrieving class.
Cool.
But I haven't tried to
Yeah,
bring
that's
toy
probably
searches
not the
back
thing.
into it.
What I was thinking about, and I'm just going to say this for posterity, not because I think that it doesn't sound like it's going to be the right direction for you all, is doing some like, okay, you can actually see where it's gone, girl, and
Mm-hmm.
you just have to go get it out of the cover,
Mm-hmm.
and use as a way to kind of try to suck her in a little bit more in there. I'm also wondering if you can use any of your gun dog training in this area and try to use something that like you also have a good foundation and it jams with her genetics, and like could we use that to rebuild the search strategy? I don't know nearly enough about what you're doing in your gun dog training to know if that would work. Otherwise, I think the scent circles are a great option. Like I think using the visual to kind
Mm-hmm.
of reel her in would probably help. Yeah. What are your other thoughts so far?
Yeah. So I think the gun dog stuff, like she really just did it naturally. So I didn't really train a lot with that. Um I feel like the visual might help, but
The other option would be just coming to this area and doing other training. Just going there
Okay.
and doing
Yeah.
ping pong game, doing like sit down stands, doing like maybe a couple like down, stay, I place odor. We do like an indication game. Like, I mean, her indication and sourcing looks really
Yeah.
lovely when she hits odor, but like, see if you can really heavily reweight this area and hopefully by extension,
Yeah.
this type of area into like, hey, Anna's relevant here. Hey, odor is relevant here. Hey, we're focused here. Hey, we're working here. And really try to make it feel like a working space and like just
Yeah.
take the area
Yeah.
search out of it for now and then maybe keep practicing that sort of area search in whatever areas you do get success with it
Yeah.
but like take the area search out of this area for now, out of your, what did you call it, your nemesis area?
Yeah. No, my nemesis. I came back
Yeah.
to it. I was like, we got this. And then I was like, oh no, this is
Uh,
the exact same thing that happened like a
no,
month ago.
okay, it's not the exact same. I'm sure if you watch the video there's something that's different. I'm not sure if it's better or worse because of the deer poop,
Yeah.
but like it's different. Hey,
Oh yeah,
like
that
honestly
went
the
on.
deer
There was a
poop,
couple more hides, and I did a little picture of like, look, everybody, here's the deer poop, but it cut off before that.
the
And
deer,
I have to comment on
yeah.
on how positive you speak to her. Like if I can imagine if my dog went and rolled in poop and then went and rolled in poop again, I would probably start to get really irritated that they were farting off. And I really aspire to be a handler who can stay so positive and laugh it off and supportive of my dog. And I love when I see videos of you, how your energy with your dogs. It's really
Thank
nice.
you.
Yeah.
Thanks. Thank you.
Yeah. One, the other thing I was thinking is actually the deer poop. I don't know if it's because the deer are out, like all of the veg is fresher, so their poop is nummier, or maybe
It
they're,
was nasty poop. Yeah.
I don't know if fawns have started dropping where you are as well, so that could be changing hormones.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
if like I haven't at least seen video of her where deer poop is that problematic previously.
No, no.
So I think you were getting some sort of arousal spiraling going that I think the deer poop was actually a
Mm,
component of. I don't think that was
I knew
just
that.
like a coincidental side effect. I think that might have
mhm.
been kind of caught up in our cause and effect of like the way she was ratcheting up and crittering and then rolling in poop and then crittering and then sprinting and then poop and then like it, I, yeah, I
Take a
don't,
drink, go for a swim. Oh, look, there's odor here. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, we were really out of our minds there. Again, and I hope someday you get to come. I wish that I could just have you out here while I'm working with Tuma right now because like I I almost threw him off a cliff yesterday. Doing stuff like that. We took him on a trail run with Niffler and we stopped to look at the view and he chewed through both his harness and his leash while he was tethered to a tree. Um, ran up to us and then on the entire run home back to our car, which was like 2.5 miles, it was like I kid you not, every 5 seconds I was having to call him off of critters of some sort, and he had chewed through his leash and harness, so I didn't like have an option to contain him, and I was just like, I'm a border collie person. I'm a border collie person. I can't. I thought I wanted a spaniel, and that's not true. I do really like working with him, and I was just like, oh, this is a totally different flavor of problem than what I have
Yeah.
had with the border collies,
Yeah.
and the speed and the crittering and the way that the crittering and the speed and the arousal like ratchet up so fast and like they take some time to come down and like I haven't quite figured out with him yet what like our off ramp is from there. It's something.
Hmm. Hmm.
Well,
um
if it makes anybody feel better, my dog disappeared for an hour on me in the woods
Oh,
the other
oh,
day. She flew by me at one point, right to left. She never even waved, and she was just gone.
oh,
So, yeah, and
yeah,
she was doing what Zuzu was doing, but it was thick brush woods, ankle deep muck. And when she came home, she was happy as could be. So, yeah, they're dogs.
sure are. We, you know, we have like the coolest hobby job in the world, and also and on one hand it is like totally what dogs are made to do. They're made to go find stuff in the woods. But also we are asking them to find like an arbitrary thing in the woods exactly how we
Yeah.
need them to, and like
Yeah.
we're trying to co-opt genetics that are made to find birds and bunnies, to find things really close to birds and bunnies that aren't quite, and like yeah, it's hard. We're asking them to do hard stuff, and we are training them in a situation that is like so much less controlled than what most
Mhm.
sports are, our trials or those sorts of things. Like
Yeah.
we're doing something
Yeah.
really,
Especially
really
just
hard
being
here.
totally off leash in big
Yeah.
areas. And
Yeah, and I mean everybody here, like we're primarily doing it without e-collars. Like we're in a situation where like we're really yeah, this is dog on hard mode. And even with e-collars,
well,
like
I
I
mean,
have, like even that doesn't, it's not a silver bullet. It doesn't make it easy.
this makes me feel better. I mean, sometimes I feel like I just need to like, take a step back. Like you were saying with Jane, like it wasn't as bad as it looked to us as it felt to you. Like I feel the same way. I mean, all the times that Zuzu, I like had her and then I looked down and she with one bite has bitten through like a line and it's like totally loose. I'm like, how did you do that with one bite? I don't understand.
Yeah,
Um,
that was,
so
it was shocking how fast Tuma came up.
you
I
didn't
was
even
like,
chew that.
oh,
You
the
just like,
harness
how
and
did
the
you?
line. Wow. If I wasn't so bad, I'd
Um,
be impressed.
yeah. That was like if the poo wasn't so, yeah. She
Yeah.
came home and Sam, who's infamous for his patience, he was like, "Oh, is she muddy?" I was like, "That is not mud. It's not mud." But
We,
I
I,
think, I think
we
I have
need
a
a
plan.
support group for our partners.
I know we
Like,
do. We do. We
or like a
we
partner of
really
the
need to
month
get that
award
going.
that we can give out. Like,
Yes. Like the best like hide, the best like patience with field poo. Um yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, so I think I'll keep practicing my field searches in bigger areas. And then I'll go to this nemesis area. And like you said, you're at step 7, you gotta wind it back to step 2 or
Yeah.
3.
Yeah, go back to where
Wind
you
it
were a
back
couple
to like
months ago on the back porch.
fun indication game and then go from there, like maybe 1 or 2 hides in front of me and then kind of work up to it like I did with the open area. That makes a lot of sense to me. We'll see. Also, I'm gonna get the head like video thing, so I'm not just like following her. And maybe I'll try to keep myself accountable with how I'm moving, but that seems like a good idea. And then maybe if I do work up to actually doing a field search, doing something visual there to help her like
Yeah.
transition,
Yeah.
like
And even
the
you could
little
get,
indication
those like
game, and then maybe
popsicle
something
things
really
that people
visual.
use to not drive off the road, like not drive off their, the like red reflective popsicle thing that you put at the end of your
Oh,
driveway so you don't drive off your driveway.
yeah.
Those might be
Yeah.
nice to play with. I've seen people use those, pin flags and flagging tape as well, as a way to like teach the dog some boundaries and give the dog something visual to look for. That's a little
Yeah.
bit more transportable and better in taller brush than the snorkels. We
Yeah.
used
Yeah.
those for our ferret dogs for a
Mm,
while.
okay.
And it was actually because we had accidentally taught them to use it, because we would mark probable ferret location. The biologist we
Mm,
were working with had marked probable ferret locations with the popsicles, and then we just got to the point where we had to start introducing them in training because the dogs were just starting to alert to them. So we managed to figure out how
Like
to
kind
like
of parrot.
use them as like, yes, search here, but don't automatically alert to them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that might be okay with her because like you were saying the in-between space. I feel like I have less of a concern with her with the in-between space than maybe some other dogs. Like if I
Yeah,
have like a visual here and a visual there, I feel like if she runs into something, she would be
yeah,
interested in it.
yeah. She's got a different. It's slightly different from
Just
what I'm working on with Yutuma, where it's like
yeah.
And I think partially because he spent the last year on an olfactometer.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
is so cued into like I find the thing, I check the thing, I alert. Or not like, he's got that skill too much maybe right now. So, okay,
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
let y'all go. I will try to get this uploaded to YouTube sooner rather than later. It might be a little bit. We'll see if I can get it out. It's either gonna be today or like in a week and a half.
For what reason, Kayla? No, just kidding.
I just had to. I just made it while we were talking. I made like 3 notes of people where I was like, "Shit, I'm supposed to record a podcast with Joe Lawrence tomorrow. We're gonna be on a plane. Like, oh no, I'm gonna have to
Oh.
rebook with her, and that's fine because I actually forgot to post
Yeah.
on Patreon asking people what their questions are for her. So
I'll
Well,
post a
good luck in
million.
your travels.
thank you. Yeah, I'm excited
good
to
luck with
report back for
everything.
how it goes once we're there. We'll see y'all soon.
All right, thanks for taking the time.
Thank
Safe
you,
travels.
everybody.
Bye, everyone.